call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will get started with the good news report. Deanne?
Good evening. November has been a very busy month for us in the Sioux Falls School District, both academically and with extracurricular activities. To start off, I want to draw your attention to some of the artwork found around the boardroom here today. It is part of Native American Heritage Month, and teacher on special assignment, Anna Broken Leg, provided tons of resources to our teachers at the start of this month to honor Native American heritage in our schools. Among those resources, she provided posters and short videos for Lakota colors, shapes, and numbers. The videos were also including students from our OSO program at Washington High School. So we're going to take a listen real quick.
Introduction for colors in Lakota. In this video, you will learn the names for many colors in Lakota. First, listen as the students teach you the word for each color.
Ska, Tozi, Z,
Ko, Tosha, Zija,
Sapa, Chanson, Sha.
Z.
Now, the students will say each color again more slowly. This time, try saying each color with them.
Ska, Tozi, Z,
Ko, Tosha, Zisha,
Sapa, Chanson, Z, Sha.
Wash day. Good. If you need to, listen to the video and try it again.
So as mentioned, those videos were just done in our school district with our own staff and obviously showcase the collaboration. If you caught at the end, music by Brule, which is a fantastic band that's performed nationwide. And so really a great collection of learning there that can be done in every classroom throughout the district K-12. Ms. Broken Leg also provided a list of library books and other instructional materials to link celebrations of Thanksgiving to the district's instructional framework as well. Additionally, we've heard of several other things happening in celebration this month. Students at Washington High continue to coordinate an all-district book drive. Last year, they were hoping for 1,500 books to be collected district-wide. They met that goal. They collected 15,000. Those books were then delivered to 7 South Dakota reservations over a 5-month period so that students would have books to take home and have with them in order to access reading material when they're not in school. The second drive that they're doing this year starts now. It will run through the end of the school year, and they anticipate about the same, that it'll take a little time to make all those collections and then disseminate to our Native American reservations. This morning at Hawthorne Elementary, 4th and 5th grade classes hosted an art display in the library following a joint project by their librarian, Sarah Becker, and their art teacher, Kathy Dang. They taught students about Iktomi, which is the trickster in Osheti-Sakowin culture. Iktomi is like a spider. So that's where you see the art images there of the spider. Students heard and read about Iktomi stories and then created presentations of the spider form for part of their Native American Heritage Month learning. They report that's been very successful at building student interest. And wouldn't you know it, the Iktomi stories, the books in the library, they're all checked out right now. So a lot of great interest there. Tomorrow, Washington High School is actually hosting their first ever family fry bread cooking contest. I don't know if they need judges. At least 3 families are going to be competing for the award of Best Family Fry Breader. The winners will receive a gift card for $50 that the Okeechobee, I called Bruce Rexted to make sure I had the pronunciation right. Okeechobee Club is providing a gift card to the winners. And then, of course, don't forget this Friday evening, we have the Office of Indian Education's Winter Solstice event at Axtell Park. Families will enjoy a meal together, some drumming groups will perform. Students can receive activity packets as well as several other items while in attendance. And this really is a celebration of food and family, and it's really all about building relationships that are so important in the Native American culture. So it's been busy, but that's not all. The second part of our report tonight is that we are featuring our fall fine arts and athletic accomplishments. We believe that academic excellence is, of course, important, but it's equally important for students to participate in extracurricular activities because these experiences foster a sense of teamwork, belonging, pride to round out their public education experience. So I'm going to turn it over now to my friend, Fine Arts Coordinator Shane Webben. He's going to highlight the success in our fine arts first.
Good evening. For those of you who have not met, I'm Shane Webben, Fine Arts Coordinator. We have lots of things that have happened, that have been going on, lots of things to come. For example, all 4 of our high schools put on their fall drama productions. Several of them sold out every show that they ran, which is really wonderful. Jefferson had their National Arts Honor Society induction, first of its kind in our city. And this weekend coming up is the State One Act Festival. In the at the end of October, we had the All-State Chorus and Orchestra Concert in Rapid City. We had 80 choir students participating, 51 orchestra students. That's slightly more than a third of the orchestra came from Sioux Falls, and including 4 students who had 4-year awards, which means they have been in All-State Orchestra, auditioned every year and made it every year that they've been in high school. That's quite an accomplishment. At the same time, the State Music Association hosts an honor choir for elementary students, where students audition throughout the state to participate, and we had 16 elementary students participate in that concert as well. We think fine arts and athletics, we immediately think football season and marching band season together, and we had quite the marching band season this year. Some highlights: Washington High School, Lincoln High School there. All of our bands saw many top 3, top 4 finishes in their classes. Overall, Lincoln had a 12th place finish at Bands of America in Indianapolis, which is a huge accomplishment for a group from South Dakota to even go to that event, but to take that place, 12th place. Roosevelt and Jefferson as well had top place finishes for all of their competitions. It was a very successful year for all of our marching bands. They get a breath and then they start concert band season. I think the next week I was going to concert band performances. So it just really never ends in our high schools there. Another unique opportunity we had is we were able to partner and collaborate with Augustana University, sponsored through the Promising Futures Fund, with Ben Rifle, George McGovern, and Whittier Middle School. Our students spent the afternoon and evening at the Washington Pavilion rehearsing with directors from Augustana, rehearsing performing pieces with Augustana students. So there were times where the our middle school students sang and the college students responded, and they went back and forth. They did pieces together. At the concert, parents were able to learn a song that our kids learned that afternoon and then taught. And they had some fun time at dinner where our students were able to interact with university students to have the opportunity to see that they can participate in music beyond just middle school or just high school. They can participate in music in the university. So great partnership, great collaboration. We're really excited to do those partnerships with them in the future. Thank you.
And now I have the pleasure of showcasing our success with our fall athletic teams. Casey Miley is, of course, our coordinator of athletics, but he has a more important title tonight, and that is the title of dad. He's participating in an event for his son, so very important for him to do that. Out of 9 activities that we have in our fall sports lineup, I'm happy to say that we were able to bring home 5 championships to the schools in the Sioux Falls School District. Especially exciting this year was the amazing competitive cheer performance by Sioux Falls Jefferson High School. If you haven't seen that, go out and watch about 2 to 3 minutes of just incredible awesomeness. In just their 3rd year in existence, the Cavalier cheerleaders captured 1st place in the state competitive cheer competition, beating out some very tough competition with some just crazy stunts. Huge fan. Then just 2 weeks ago, you might remember, of course, that Coach Jared Fredenberg at the Lincoln High School Patriot football team hoisted that championship trophy, and they ended their season with 11-0. You can see our boys state soccer champions, girls tennis, boys soccer, boys cross country also brought home championships as well. So just a really great fall for the students in the Sioux Falls School District. We want to congratulate all of those students, their coaches, and say a special thank you to the parents as well for supporting their children and encouraging them to participate in these fine arts and athletic opportunities.
Thank you very much for the update. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the meeting held on November 13th, 23?
moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is approved. We have 2 different topics. Neither of them are agenda items. So we will have Lincoln High School go first. I have an Angie Allen, and I'm going to quickly read through just some public participation at school board meetings. So this portion of the agenda is available for individuals wishing to address the board about a district-related subject. Individuals wishing to address the board on district-related issues must sign up prior to the start of the meeting. Speaker is limited to 5 minutes regardless of the number of subjects the person wants to cover. So for the first topic, we have 2 speakers, so you'll each get 5 minutes to speak. Anyone addressing the board must give his or her name and address. You may not give oral complaints regarding district personnel or personnel actions. Complaints regarding district personnel are to be addressed to the superintendent. Cannot offer personal attacks against individual. Speaker may not give oral complaints identifying individual students. Those should also be addressed to the superintendent. And if I feel like there needs to be a response, I can ask somebody from our administration to reply in writing to the speaker. So if there are no questions on that, Kate will be my timer. So we'll start with Angie. You have 5 minutes. If you would just come to the podium and just tell us your name and address, please, and then you can go ahead and start.
My name is Angie Allen and my address is 312 East 20th Street. I'm here today speaking out of concern and alarm regarding the newly implemented policy that the school district has forced upon male athletes that now requires athletic coaches to cap boys' participation in sports, presumably as a measure to reach Title IX compliance. As I'm sure you are aware, I am a named plaintiff in the current Title IX litigation against the school district on behalf of my 2 minor daughters. I wish to publicly speak today, not as a named party in a lawsuit, but as a parent in this community. Again, the purpose of Title IX is to create and provide equal athletic participation opportunities amongst boys and girls. Punishing boys for the district's lack of opportunities for girls is concerning on so many levels. It speaks to the district's lack of creativity and unwillingness to seek fair solutions. It's also just really mean, short-sighted, and smacks of reprisal. It is not hard to see that this harsh directive is detrimental to all male athletes in their rightful pursuit of athletic participation and all of the social, academic, and post-secondary benefits they have the opportunity to achieve. The gymnastics community as a whole staunchly believes that both girls and boys deserve and have a right to the same opportunities and benefits that athletic participation provides. I'm just so confused as to why the district has taken the stance of removing these opportunities initially for girls and now additionally for boys. Why is the district going scorched earth instead of getting creative and collaborative? Why is the district seeking to stir the pot until it boils over instead of lowering the temperature? Why is the district sowing discord instead of seeking solutions? This is not leadership. This is not rising above the fray. This is getting deep down in the mud. And for what? To prevent kids from playing sports? To win a lawsuit? And if so, at what cost? The gymnastics community set out on this journey to seek fairness and equality for all athletes and is utterly and wholly against this new policy the district has set forth. Punishing boys is not the solution to creating equality for girls. We hope you will reconsider the implementation of this harsh strategy and will instead seek fair and collaborative solutions that provide opportunities for both boys and girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Greg Gohl.
Hi, School Board. My name is Greg Gohl, 2222 South Main Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. First and foremost, thanks for what you do. You're not told it enough, but we do appreciate you, and we know that you have tough decisions to make. I've been a parent in the Sioux Falls School District for the past 15 years. I'm also the past president of the Lincoln Booster Club. I have two sons who have participated in high school athletics over the last 8 years, and I have a 7th grade daughter who has played 1 year of high school tennis and hopes to be a high school gymnast at some point. Just to piggyback on a couple things Angie said, it was brought to my attention this week that several of our high school boys' activities have been tasked with reducing their boys' participation numbers in the upcoming years and even as early as this spring. I'm not sure the exact reason for this directive, but I'll go out on a limb and say that it has something to do with the Title IX conversations that came to light this past year with the gymnastics program. It's unclear whether the goal is to lessen opportunities for boys so that it can more easily eliminate a girls program, whether it's simply that we have too many kids participating and we just need to reduce our numbers, or whether it's a financial or budget issue. But I'm hopeful, whatever the reason is, that the board knows that there's no parent group, no coaches group that I'm aware of, no activities director that I'm aware of that's in favor of reducing any opportunities for our students, whether it's boys or girls. My ultimate hope is that we can work together to enhance opportunities for all of our students and not reduce opportunities. And finally, if coaches and activities directors are going to be forced to make cuts to their participation numbers, it will surely hurt some of the most marginalized students the most. The students who have decided to come out for an activity who maybe never participated before, or who didn't have the luxury of being in a club sport since the age of 6. Many, if not most, of our current activities do not limit the number of students who can participate. And if a student is brave enough to take the step to sign up to participate in an activity, then at least let's try to give them a fighting chance to participate. I'm personally volunteering myself to be part of a solution, and I just ask that before making any decisions to cut programs for girls or reduce numbers for boys, that that we could have an open conversation about the issue, whether it's Title IX related or budget related. I think there's lots of people in the room and elsewhere that would be open to being a part of it. So thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have three speakers who have signed up. I'll start with Greg Neitzert. Again, you could give us your name and address, please.
Good evening. It's an honor to stand before you tonight. My name is Greg Neitzert. I live at 2701 South Kinderhook Avenue, and I am a city councilor who represents the Northwest District here in Sioux Falls. I come to you this evening to discuss a vacant parcel of land the district owns at 9th and Grange, the former home of Lincoln Elementary. Specifically, I want to discuss some of the recent history and events that got us here. First, I want to make one thing really clear. For the neighborhood and for me, this is not adversarial, and we hope you feel the same way. We consider the school district and the school board our ally. We come to you with nothing but gratitude and a vision we hope will inspire you. Even the name of the neighborhood group that is formed and the proposed name of the future park is intended to honor the school district and the history of the parcel. In April of 22, the neighborhood learned that the city was in discussion with the school district regarding the idea of putting affordable housing at 9th and Grange. A neighbor discussed with the district director by phone and by email, and a portion of his response reads as follows. The city is an important entity in the development of the site. The school district is not a developer, nor does the district provide parks for the community. In our discussion with the city, we asked them to take the lead in the community input process and the development of the property. Based on that, the neighborhood engaged the city to discuss their vision of the site. In May of 22, the neighbors held a public meeting to discuss the vision of the parcel with the city and district staff in attendance, understanding, of course, that the school district had not made a decision. I then emailed the superintendent and the school board indicating my support for a park. The superintendent's response reads in part, the district and the board will continue to explore possible options for the site through our facility planning process. From that, I inferred that the facility planning process might be in progress or it could be initiated soon. On June 13th, 2022, at a school board work session, Jeff Kreider discussed this parcel, and he noted that the school district was obtaining an appraisal on the land and looking at potential options, another indication that releasing the land was being considered. Over the next few months, the neighborhood privately met with city councilors, school board members, and other stakeholders to discuss the vision. The neighborhood decided to create a brochure, which you were provided with last week. You received that brochure. In the summer of 22, I worked to build a unified vision and a coalition of stakeholders, including the city administration. Based on that work, the city administration made a call to the school district in September of 22. The city's position was indicated to the district. I sat down with the superintendent and her staff the next day with the simple message, we are ready when you are. On October 5th, 2022, at a work session, Jeff Kreider discussed the community campus and its future needs. One of the potential future sites was 9th and Grange. That indicated the district was still actively considering uses for the land, and based on that, the neighborhood and myself largely went into a holding pattern, awaiting the next public word from the district. In February of 2023, I emailed the same school director asking for a status update, and he indicated no decision had been made, and the possibility of using it for the community campus was still on the table, and that there was also a review of elementary boundaries and an overall needs assessment likely starting in 2024. So we then stayed patient for the next several months, knowing the district was considering its options, and we waited for their next public statement. And that came on September 6th, a few months ago at a work session where Jeff Kreider indicated the Western Mall might be the location where the community campus could consolidate, potentially taking the 9th and Grange parcel off the table. So based on that, the neighborhood reached out to the mayor and the superintendent in October asking to meet to discuss a parcel. Both declined that invitation for different reasons. Throughout, there's been a bit of confusion as to who should make the first move, the city or the school district. At the last school board meeting, the superintendent stated the city was interested in acquiring the parcel, that the district would entertain it. We've had some of these discussions internally, but if an official statement of policy from the city council would be helpful, I believe we can make that happen. She also indicated a school board member could request the parcel could be put on the agenda. We would ask a board member to make that request. We respectfully ask that you start the process to consider the disposal of this land. The city can make it a park. We have done it before. There's a template, and that is Emerson Park. The next speaker will tell you a little bit about that. There's a bit of a sense of urgency for me and for the neighborhood, totally understanding that you need to be deliberate. This is an irrevocable decision. 4 city councilors, including myself, leave office next May. At that point, the neighborhood is gonna have to start all over. I would love to have this process in motion before I leave. Until then, the neighborhood will continue to advocate to you in the city. They won't give up, and I'm proud to advocate for them tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Reynold Nasiba.
Yeah, thank you. Reynold Nesiba from 802 South Willow Avenue. My name is Reynold Nesiba, and I'm a state senator from District 15 in North Central Sioux Falls. It's mostly between 18th Street on the south, 60th Street north on the north, I-29 on the west, and Cliff, and I-229 on the east. That includes Jane Addams, Lowell, Hawthorne, Garfield, Whittier schools, as well as the former location of Lincoln Elementary, where my twin sons attended Head Start a long time ago, in the very first year that I moved here. It also includes Emerson Park, which I want to talk a little bit about tonight, in which my wife Erica and my dog Paisley often walk through Emerson Park. And as Councilman Neitzer noted, we as a school board, as a city council, as a Sioux Falls community, have worked together in the past to take a former elementary school location and convert it into a city park. And this is how that story went. So Emerson School was one of several schools built in the late 1910s, early 20s, and named after famous authors and poets. Emerson was built in 1922 at 515 South Lake Avenue, that's at Sioux Street, and opened in the fall of 1923 as a K-8 school. According to John Walker, writing in the Argus Leader in April of 2002, it cost $126,000. Prices have gone up some since then. So it was named for that 19th century poet and essayist Ralph Waldo Emerson. In 1974, it closed as a neighborhood school and became a special education center until it was closed completely in 1998. On January 8th, 1999, David Krantz, remember him, reported in the Argus Leader that then Mayor Gary Hansen had a 5-year vision for expanding the parks. And he quotes the mayor as saying, "The city has had a wonderful history of parks and activities in parks. In order to provide that quality of life for future generations, it is important for us to acquire lands and make plans in the present. Otherwise, it will be far too expensive in the future." So, and I appreciate Gary Hansen looking so far into the future long ago when he's saying that. So the article notes that the city is negotiating with the school district on the former Emerson School property on South Lake Avenue. 5 months later, David Krantz, again in June of '99, reports that the public hearings were held to determine the fate of Emerson School buildings. Some neighbors were opposed to tearing it down. Some wanted it as wanted a retirement facility there. Others wanted a park. On November of '99, Krantz reports the Sioux Falls Parks and Recreation Board unanimously recommended that Emerson School be raised and turned into a park. He notes that, quote, "The city held several meetings with neighbors where as many as 70 people offered input," Assistant City Planner Mike Cooper said. They also noted that some of the wall built during the Works Progress Administration days of the Great Depression will be preserved. The article goes on to describe the park's amenities. 2 parks at opposite ends with playground equipment for younger and older children, lighted walkways, a gazebo. No mention was made of the basketball court, which really is in the center of that park, and it's one of makes that park so popular in the summertime, where there's people playing basketball there. In May of 2000, Jennifer Garretts reported in the Argus Leader that the walls of the old Emerson Elementary School came down on Friday to make way for a new park. Rob Swenson reports a month later that much of the site grading is being done for the school district before the property is officially turned over to the city. And on September 1st, David Krantz notes that in the budget request, Emerson Park would include a play court, which eventually became that basketball court, which is there today. Finally, John Walker reports on April 28, 2002, quote, that a neighborhood's painful memory turns into a short celebration Saturday when the city dedicates the new Emerson Park in West Central Sioux Falls. After the school closed, the city bought the land for $270,000, reimbursed the school district $101,000 for demolition, and spent another $150,000 turning it into a city park. This experience that we went through over 20 years ago can inform what we as a community do today with the former Lincoln Elementary site. We can hold community meetings, receive input from those living in the area around the former Lincoln School, and use that input to inform the decisions that you have to make, as well as the City Council, the Mayor, the Parks and Recreation Department. I see this as a potential win-win-win, with the school district receiving funds for a property it no longer uses, for the city to expand its already excellent park system, and for a densely populated central neighborhood with many children to have a neighborhood park for them to play together with others in their neighborhood. If I can be of service to your board in helping move this process forward, please ask. I'd be honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Linda Duba.
Good evening, members. My name is Linda Duba. I'm a representative of District 15, the north end of Sioux Falls. I live at 421 North Phillips Avenue. And I want to commend you on your service. I know that having a job like this is difficult at best and takes up your time, so my remarks will be brief. We have just heard from two members of the organization, one from the City Council, and then secondly, we heard of a template that was used 20 plus years ago to develop a play space for children in the center of Sioux Falls, in the central part of the city. So I think we have two takeaways here. First of all, we need to encourage our City Council members to go forward with a resolution requesting that the school board engage in talks in purchasing that plot of land. You have, if I'm correct, you have already assessed the value, so we know what the value of the land is. You could offer that up for purchase by the city, but we do need the city to take action. We understand that. So that is up to Greg Neitzer to take back to the council and put that resolution together and bring it forward in the City Council. In the meantime, I would hope that you would consider that we have a green space today that is somewhat used by the members of our community. If you haven't witnessed it, I encourage you to go out there. There's a huge community garden there, and frequently the neighborhood will get together, people from around the neighborhood, and hold picnics there, which is nice to do, and they're very informal. Many of the times that I have been there, it's to rally the troops around what you're hearing about tonight. But it also is a play space for those children. Now, if you're not familiar with that area, and I am because it's part of my district, the closest park that many of those children would have would be Terrace Park. It's quite a jaunt for kids who live on 9th and 10th Streets, or who live on Euclid, Lake, Glendale, Grange, Waltz. It's a long walk for small children. It's a great opportunity for families who live in multi-dwelling places to have a green space for their children to play. So whether we turn it into a park or not, that is my hope, but it has to be a collaborative effort between the city of Sioux Falls, the school board, and then the members of the community who are very interested in securing the funds to support that option. I would highly encourage you to meet with the city of Sioux Falls once that resolution is finalized and voted on, and begin those talks. And I would also put forth my time and my efforts to do what is needed to support this effort. Thank you very much for your time and your public service.
Thank you. That ends our public comment session. Can I get a motion and approval for the agenda this evening?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. There are no conflicts of interest this evening, so we will skip that. Can I get a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Sorry.
Second.
All of it. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Supplemental consent agenda, claims to Sanford Health. A motion and a second for 10A1 and 2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes with one abstention from myself. And then we will go on to the reports of the superintendent.
Got down there quickly. We have 3 items tonight. The first is a report from Mrs. Grenager on our AP and dual credit options and the statistics for those participation rates this past year. Then we're going to go over the budget guidelines with Mr. Veek as we approach the budget season. And then finally, the board needs to set a school board election date, which will be here before we know it as well. So with that, I will turn it over to you.
Good evening. I feel like I should be part of the good news report when I give the AP and dual credit report tonight. The advanced placement program is available to high school students It includes college preparatory coursework that is academically rigorous and rich in content. Test results are reported on a scale of 1 to 5, and students must score a 3 or higher for the course to be considered for college credit. Sioux Falls currently has 30 AP course offerings for students to choose from. And in the 2022-23 school year, we had 1,702 students take 2,972 exams. Students are encouraged to take at least one AP course during their high school career. And as you can see in Chart A, we have a lot of students taking advantage of our AP courses. We had 284 freshmen, 339 sophomores, 582 juniors, and 497 seniors all take AP courses last year. And as you can see, those numbers are holding steady or increasing in every grade level. Many students take more than one AP course each year. And Chart B shows that that number has also increased. We had 727 students take more than one AP course last school year. As our district becomes more diverse, we continue to encourage all of our students, but particularly pay some close attention to our minority students to take advantage of AP courses. Chart C shows the number of AP students disaggregated by ethnicity. And those numbers also increased in almost every category. One decrease was Pacific Islander. We went from 2 to 1, so not too bad. But otherwise, we had significant increases, particularly in our Black and Hispanic populations. Chart D shows the number of exams taken in the past 4 years and the number of exams that received that important score of 3 or higher. And of those 2,972 exams, 2,088 received that passing score of 3 or higher. So you can see those are also significant increases from the prior year. Our passing rate in the school district was at 70% this year. And as you can see, the Sioux Falls School District stays in that 70% range each year, and we continue to score higher than the South Dakota average and higher than the global AP pass rate. AP also provides, or College Board, a number of different categories of AP scholars. We had 486 district AP scholars awarded this last year. 195 of those AP scholars are students who received a score of 3 or higher on 3 or more AP exams. 107 of AP scholars with honors, which means students received an average score of 3.25 or higher on all of the AP exams and a score of 3 on 4 or more exams. We had 176 students receive AP Scholar with distinction, which means they scored an average of 3.5 on all AP exams and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more exams. And then we had 16 students receive the AP Capstone Diploma. And you may remember that we added AP Seminar and AP Research just in the last few years. And so those numbers have continued to increase as students scored 3 or higher on both AP Seminar and AP Research. In addition, this year, just in October, College Board added a new award titled the AP School Honor Roll. The AP School Honor Roll recognizes schools whose AP programs are delivering results for students while broadening access. Schools can earn this recognition annually based on criteria that reflect a commitment to increasing college-going culture, providing opportunities for students to earn college credit, and maximizing college readiness. AP offers 4 levels of distinction: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And the only school in South Dakota to receive an award this year is Washington High School, and they received the Bronze AP School Honor Roll. In addition to AP, the Sioux Falls School District provides opportunities for students to earn college credit while still in high school through dual credit. Students have to meet the criteria set by the South Dakota Board of Regents, but the district works hard to enhance the accessibility and quality of dual credit options. We have several courses that are now taught in person by Sioux Falls School District employees with cooperation with our state universities. And we have many courses taught at the Career and Technical Education Academy that provide students with dual credit opportunities. And then our students who participate in the Avera Academy program or Classrooms to Careers, sponsored by Avera and Sanford, earn dual credits through Southeast Tech. Participation in dual credit also continues to increase each year. The district's commitment to providing students with diverse and convenient educational opportunities allows students to better prepare for their future. And if you look at Chart F, you can see that we had 450 students who took a dual credit course this past year. And just as a note, those 450 students earned 2,278 credits. Our fiscal year 23 incentive budget for the advanced placement was $123,435. This money is used for professional development for teachers, classroom materials, test procedures, and other such things. AP exams are now cost $96, except for AP seminar and research. Those now cost $144. Students who qualify for financial need can take AP exams at no cost through the guidelines of the College Board and the South Dakota Department of Education. The district also subsidizes fees for students with a financial need who don't meet those qualifying guidelines. This last year, we had 304 tests for 170 students that qualified for a fee reduction through College Board. And then the Sioux Falls School District paid for an additional 104 exams for 57 students. We have a committee that meets annually that continues to promote the AP program and work to improve our continued strong performance on AP exams. The AP District Committee guides the program to develop strategies to increase student participation. And our district continues to work with post-secondary partners to offer additional dual credit opportunities. I ask the board to acknowledge the district's 2023 Advanced Placement in Dual Credit Board Report and stand by for any questions.
Anybody have any comments or questions?
Like you said, always a good news report. So always
Yes.
for the statistics and how we are reaching more and more students every year and encouraging them to take that challenge, that challenging class. So thank you.
I was just doing some quick math. So I was very curious to know that there were 2,278 credits that were earned, which is huge. If you
Yes.
consider that an in-state tuition credit hour is $260 if you were to just leave your high school and go to a state institution. Now, you're still paying for those as a high school student, but it's $48.
$48.33
Yeah,
a
something
credit.
like that.
It's a great deal.
So even if you take the cost of what you would have paid the $260 at a university and you minus or you subtract the $48, we still helped students save $482,000 in one school year on tuition. And so when we talk about making education accessible to a wider variety of students, it's that exact method of how we do that. And so I've noticed in the time that my kids have been in high school, the increase in the number of dual credits that are available. And for some students, that's a better fit. It's I can take the class, I can learn as I go, I can take the test. I can take the class, I can take the test. Where an AP class may be more challenging for somebody to have to kind of remember and apply and all that information for 9 months to score on one test, which is a make or break. There are students in both populations, and I feel like both groups of people do amazing things. But to have another option for students who really saves them a ton of money and makes college or tech school or whatever it is accessible is a huge investment in our students and our community. So thank you for adding this new information, and I look forward to watching that grow as we continue over the years and our classes increase. And again, AP is increasing as well. It just shows that it's a great option for many different students who have different needs. Anybody else?
I just want to highlight a couple of things. The first one is our students helped us along the way as we talked with them about just their knowledge of dual credit opportunities. And staff went to work to just kind of up our game a little bit in that area. And I think often AP and dual credit are not seen as friends and mutually compatible. And yet we're seeing both go up in our district, which is amazing. It's not an either or proposition, it's a both and. The other thing is we need to give a shout out to our teachers, because being qualified to teach dual credit requires extra certification sometimes for them, a willingness to teach both on our platform for grading and delivering content, as well as the cooperating higher ed institution. And so that's something that they're willing to do, which makes it possible for our kids to take those courses. And so it's been a really good collaborative effort to keep moving both tracks in a great direction. And I think it speaks very well to the willingness of our high schools to just make sure every student has a pathway that they want and that is relevant for them, including career and tech ed. So we're heading in a good direction on all of those fronts.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? If no other comments, can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the AP and dual credit report?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That report is acknowledged. Thank you.
Hey, sorry for the delay. At our last meeting, the board approved the FY25 budget timelines, and amongst many other things, one of those timelines called for a presentation of the budget guidelines for approval tonight. So we're presenting that to you, the board, tonight for approval, and then we'll give our instructions out to our budget preparers a week from Wednesday. So as you know, last year, in preparation for the significant federal ESSER dollars of close to $60 million since 2020, expiring in FY25, we asked our budget preparers to prepare a budget that looks out over 4 years and try to make a 4% reduction in each of those budgets so that we can get in line with our 5-year plan. So this year's a continuation of that, and I'm not going to go over all of these, but we still have the 96 and 99% of current program budgets. We're preparing 3 budgets each. Most of the general fund and special ed budgets, not federal funds and not committed funds, but most are preparing 3 budgets under this proposal. One is, of course, is 100% of current year program, which is what's it going to cost next year to do what you're doing this year. If you're going to add 100 students, you're going to have to probably add 5 or so teachers just to keep doing what you're doing. So not just a level dollar amount, but what will it take next year to do what you're doing this year. So in addition to the 100%, then we're asking for a 4% cut if you didn't make a cut last year, and most didn't. Most did not propose a cut last year. So still, what will it look like to get your budget down to 96% or a 4% cut? And then what will it take to get to that? So if you made a slight cut last year of maybe 1%, you'll do a 97% budget. And then you'll maybe go to 99% this year. But if you didn't make a cut, you'll do a 96, and then you'll do a 98 because you've missed a year. So it'd be 92% this year, 1% the year after that, and 1% that. So it's a little flexible in there depending on what their budgets look like last year. But the vast majority of budgets did not propose cuts last year. So we're still on track for what we proposed last year, and the eventual plan is to, within 4 years of last year, or 3 years of this year, get down to 96% of the current level. And then, as always, we ask our budget preparers to tie their budgets to the district's priorities and mission. So you'll see that here. We also ask them to try to maintain class size at elementary, middle, and high school if they can. That's the last area we want to look at making any cuts, is in the classroom. And then for our budget review committee, we want the budget review committee to align the fund balance to the approved 5-year budget plan. And we want to prepare any revenue deficit options to align with the 5-year plan as well. So how are we going to make up those revenue deficits, if there are any? And the revenues we won't know what the revenues are till after the legislative session is over, because that's about 80% of our non-federal revenues are in that year. So anyway, they're very similar to last year, and I just would ask you to approve the FY25 budget guidelines as presented, and I'll stand by for questions.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the process? It's pretty routine process.
No, it's a fairly robust process, and a lot of people have time to give input, and also just taking guidance from a wide variety of stakeholders in the budget process.
All right, if there's nothing else, can I get an approval of the FY25 budget guidelines? A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The budget guidelines are approved. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the school district election and setting the timelines that go with it. As you know, we have an election every year, at least we will for a few more years. And as you know, in July, we set in motion going to four-year terms so that we could always have even year elections. So we'd have three members up in 1 year, or three spots up in 1 year, and then 2 years later, 2 years up, and just keep going like that. So what we have this year is 2 members who are up. Vice President Murren's term is up, as is member Saren Betts's term. And part of our transition plan to getting to having three up and then 2 up is that these will be two-year terms that will be up for election, and then they'll combine in 2026 with Member Johnson's term, so there'll be 3 up that year, and then that'll be a 4-year term. And then the 2 that are up the next time in 2025 will be President Ryder and President Baker's spots, and those will be a 3-year term. Well, that'll be our last 3-year term, so they'll be up in 28, and then we'll all be on even years. We'll have 3 and then 2 and 3 and 2 for forever, presumably. So that's the plan. And since we're in an even year this year, we're proposing to combine with the city again. We have, believe every year that I've been here anyway, we've combined with the city when we have an even year election. And this is planning to continue that. Key dates that you have here is election day is set for April 9th. That's the city's election day. So we're going with that. So if you kind of back up from that, nominating petitions may start to be filed as of January 26th. The last day to file petitions would be February 23rd. The deadline for voters registration would be March 25th. And the absentee ballot would be available, and absentee balloting would take place the 25th of March as well, when that deadline is. So then again, the election itself will be on the 9th of April. And then we'll canvass the election results the 22nd. And the two board members will begin their term on July 8th. So what you have in front of you in your materials is a resolution simply stating that we will combine with the city, and the election will be held on April 9th, 2024. I'd ask your approval of that resolution. Thanks.
Questions or comments on that?
No, this just makes sense for two reasons. Number one, it saves the district money. And number two, we just have better voter turnout.
Yeah.
So it's smart.
All right, can I get a motion and a second to approve the school board election date timeline?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And on to policies.
I'm bringing forward 12 policies tonight on behalf of the Policy Review Committee. These are up for approval tonight on our review revise with just 4 minor revisions to the policies or their regulations, and then the remaining 8 policies were just reviewed by the Policy Committee and no changes were recommended. Just a brief summary of the changes. In policy BCB, the board member conflict of interest, there was just a minor grammatical change. In policy DJ, this is for expenditures. The expenditure amounts were changed to comply or match state law. And then policy IG, this is just a change to the regulation. That's just an update to the curriculum review schedule. You'll see a table in that document. And then finally, policy JRA for student records. There's a minor update to the records retention and the procedure for notifying the intent to destroy records. And if you don't have any questions, happy to answer them, but otherwise I'd ask for approval of these 12 policies and their accompanying regulations.
And like you said, there was really no substantive changes, so just clean up work. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve those policies as listed A through O. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those are approved. Thank you. Anything else for the night? If not, can I get a motion and a second for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.